Hello and welcome to my guide on 14 tips and tricks to making your restaurant super successful on The Sims 4. Of course, at the very start, your restaurant can be a little bit difficult to make profitable, but hopefully these tips and tricks will help you get a 10 out of 10, 5-star restaurant in no time. Also, if you're just looking for a guide on the basics of running a restaurant, there's a link to that in the description. Let's get into it. So the first one is to open your business before you go in. And I know this sounds really bizarre, but you can open your business and run it from home. But what you can also do is open it, wait like 5 game minutes, and then travel to the location. Now, why this is great is because you enter your business as if it's already been open for a little while. There will be customers at tables, your staff will be in position, and you completely hit the ground running as if it's been open for a few hours normally. If you go in first and then open your business, your staff will slowly trickle in, your customers will have to be served by your host. It's a bit bizarre, but opening it and then going in can really help. What's important to note is sometimes you can enter and a staff might be at a table and maybe not getting the best service, so you might have to jump on that right away. But for the most part, it just makes the day more productive and helps get you off the ground running much quicker. The next tip is to get the patient patrons perk as early as possible. This is one of the best perks to pick up and it's cheap. It essentially means that your customers are more patient and they're also more easily impressed when food comes out faster. I found this perk was a cheap game changer when it came to boosting your restaurant star rating, which will of course boost the popularity of your restaurants and the amount of customers that come to dine there. This one, out of everything, just had a really visible impact and I definitely suggest picking it up as quickly as possible. The next tip is decor, more decor. We love art, we're obsessed with art, especially when it's your restaurant. It's a very easy way to score some extra points with your customers. They'll be impressed by your artwork and you don't actually have to do anything. So if you don't have art in your restaurant, start chucking down art, sculptures, stuff on tables, whatever. Make your store a visual feast. And yes, I love that crazy term. The next tip is to not be afraid to adjust your chef's cooking speed to make them cook fast once their skill level is high enough. Now, you don't have to be cooking excellent quality food. You can still get a 5-star restaurant with normal quality, but poor quality food will seriously affect your business and make people unhappy with both the food and often the price they're paying as well. Once your chefs are about level 8 in the cooking skill, they will, for the most part, be able to make even the most difficult rated dishes at normal quality when cooking at a fast speed. Your customers will also take note of the food coming out quicker, which will make them happy and boost their star rating. Another thing to note is that you can often offset the loss of quality from cooking speed by increasing the food quality once you purchase the ingredient quality options perk. Note that if the food is coming out poor quality, you might need to have your chefs cook easier dishes or have them cook on normal speed, because that will seriously affect your restaurant in a bad way. Next up is about tables and seating. I found that a big portion of your customers will come in groups of 2 or 3, so keep that in mind when figuring out your layout. I like to be cheeky, it's not that cheeky, but a little bit cheeky, and make what looks like a table of 4, but it's actually 2 tables for 2, or a table for 6, but it's actually 2 tables for 3. But of course, you do you. When it comes to your restaurant layout, just keep in mind that when placing your tables, lots and lots of big tables that serve lots of people is probably a little bit unnecessary. The next tip, aim to welcome and check in on every table that arrives to really boost your perk points by 25 per interaction. This will help you save up for rewards that can help you earn more. If you do this on every table and you're shuffling through maybe 10 a day, that's 500 perk points in a day. And of course, you can get upwards of this. The next tip is the Curious Customers perk. The great thing about this is that it enables you to suggest dishes to guests who have a question mark. This interaction will give perk points, so getting it relatively early will mean over the long term, if you use it, it will pay itself back. Next is to not be afraid to go for that 300% markup, provided you have good service and at least normal quality food. The high markup, amazingly, will not stop you from impressing your customers. As long as you're competent in other areas in your business, if you're serving crap food, then, people aren't going to be happy paying 300% for that. But if you're serving good food, they'll be happy. And it can seriously help bring in the extra money you need to make your restaurant profitable. The next tip is to pay special attention to critics, because their star rating will be weighted much more heavily than your average customer and will significantly impact your overall restaurant star rating. If they're not at 5 stars, it's a good idea to offer them some free food to ensure they rate you highly. See, the great news is that they're very easily bribed, which we love. The next tip is just to save up for a bunch of perks that will overall increase your profitability. Purchasing both ingredient discount perks will help lower your running costs, buying the Fast Eaters perk will increase your customer turnover, and well-funded foodies will mean customers order more expensive menu items more often. All these combined will help you earn significantly more money in your restaurant. Next tip is all about your hot staff. Well, You want to keep them satisfied or at least at a neutral level so that they don't randomly quit on you. If they're very unsatisfied, give them a promotion if you don't want to lose them. Level 5 wages will make them always very satisfied, even if they're max skill level, but you can generally have a max skill employee at a neutral satisfaction on a level 4 wage. The next tip is to keep in mind that no matter what themed restaurant you have, try to have some expensive items on the menu if you can. It's very, very difficult to financially support high quality staff when only selling cheap menu items. Alternatively, consider letting staff go once they get too qualified to hire cheaper alternatives if their skills aren't needed. The second last tip relates to opening your business from home. Of course, if you didn't know, you can run your restaurant from home. You simply open it, you don't go in, and it runs itself. Firstly, make sure your restaurant's successful before you do this, but more importantly, the time of the day that you open your restaurant while not going in is very important. Opening a successful business from home during the late night to early morning, I found I barely scraped by making money, whereas it was highly profitable when I opened it during the daytime hours. Always aim for daytime. Daylight, go. Nighttime, stop. And finally, the last tip relates to the Tidy Tippers perk, which I think you should leave until last. It works by increasing the sale price of items you sell by a percentage. While it can be purchased repeatedly, it's relatively expensive at 2,000 perk points per purchase and only increases sale price by somewhere between 1 and 2%. A handy tip is that when you adjust your menu, you'll have the base prices, but when you suggest a dish using Curious Customers perk, you'll see the price including the markup from the Tidy Tippers perk, just so you can see exactly how much of a change it's making. While quite weak as a perk, its power is that can be purchased repeatedly, so it's good to look into later on, but just ignore that one at the early stages of your restaurant. You don't need that. Alas, that is the 14 tips to help you make your restaurant in The Sims 4 more successful. I hope you enjoyed and found that helpful. If you did, please subscribe and leave a like. I would really appreciate it, and have an amazing day. See you later.